football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? We're going to the South Coast. It's going to be an early one, at least for the West Coast crew. We're talking Brighton and Hove Albion in Brighton. Amex, now the Falmer Stadium, I believe, and it's going to be a big game week 2 for Manchester United in the Premier League, and they're playing. You know, I know John don't look at the table. I look at the table all the time. League leaders, Brighton. They came out hot. They won their opening game against poor old Everton 3-0. They got a young gun coach I never heard of, but you're going to be hearing a lot about him, I imagine, in the coming weeks and months. And it's a big test for Manchester United. You know, we're still finding our footing. A lot of players still come up to fitness. Some big players out injured, unavailable. Eric Ten Hag tinkering. But this is a big challenge for Manchester United. Great opportunity to kind of set the tone early in what has often been a kind of shaky start for the season under Ten Hag. And you know what? Other than the wake-up time, I am looking forward to this game. Can't wait to go. I have the record. I am the record holder. Most pies eaten on the South Coast within. This is the Amex Stadium. I put numbers down. I'm hoping United will match my count on pies with goals. Is that too much to ask?
We have twitched our ass on the bench. Do you understand what I mean?
No, nobody understands. I still don't understand what he means.
Brighton away, second match of the season. Nervy. It's nervy here in the bunker. I'm a little nervous about this one. Fulham at home. You know, maybe we didn't hit the start line sprinting, but we need to be kind of run pretty quickly if we're going to be playing against Brighton. They had a good game against Everton. They did concede early, but it was a VAR call, like a pen, but it wasn't a pen, and they probably should have had 4. It was off by like a hair. So they were getting after Everton. Now, I hope we're better than Everton because they are probably fighting relegation this season.
Poor Everton.
But don't get it twisted. A draw away at Brighton would not be the worst result given the moving pieces we have at Manchester United and how hot I expect them to be coming out of the gates in the South Coast. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be a messy game, a fight for a knife in the mud, sir. That's what we say here on the podcast. It has that type of feel, and Brighton away has got me twitching on the bench.
It's a big challenge. You know, Brighton weren't quite the Brighton we saw the year before in Eric Ten Hag's first season, where I believe they finished 6th, like an unbelievable finish for them. And then the squad was picked over by those buzzards named Chelsea FC, just returning to form. Low life club, that's where they belong, in the mud, sir. And, you know, they had De Zerbi last year, a little bit tougher of a finish. They finished 11th. De Zerbi went to Marseille, and now they brought in this new cat, this new young German, 31 years old, youngest manager in the history of the Premier League. And you know what? Brighton has an eye for talent, so he's going to get the boys motivated. They just brought in a whole new crop of players that you've never heard of that will all be like future $100 million stars, I have no doubt. And it's going to be a tough test for United. I feel like we always do poorly in these 4:30 games. That's just maybe a juju
It's
ARD
a long trip,
thing, but
right? Long trip down south. It's an early kickoff. It's like we're basically playing preseason plus because we're getting up to fitness. We're gonna be there for the taking, and they got a hot start, sir. You know, so this has everything is kind of leading up to a nervy match for Manchester United fans. Look, the sky's not falling, but you have to be realistic about this. Has Brentford away from 2 years, kind of written all over. It goes that way or it goes 1-1 draw,
which I take all day.
So I'm feeling a little nervy heading in this one, but maybe that's just because I'm nervous every game after watching last season. But, sir, quick PSA for the podcast. If you like the American Red Devils, we make content for fans by fans, sir. We're the proud home of the Muppet Take. And if you want to support us, we're now on YouTube. So you should check out our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, do all those fun things. It goes a long way helping us get our new small YouTube channel off the ground. And if YouTube is not your jam, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/American Red Devils. We do a behind-the-scenes episode every single month. There's tons of other benefits. Please check it out. It is for top Muppets, or the creme de la creme of Manchester United fans. Join our Patreon. Also, check out our store. We have amazing merchandise as well. We just added our black trucker hat It is just posted to the store. Get yours while it lasts. Everything here is limited edition, just like our Viva Garnacho scarf. Features the bicycle kick, the Argentinian flag. Viva Garnacho, sir. I have a feeling he's going to be the leading scorer of this club. Buy this scarf while it is hot. And also, check out our website, americadevils.com. We have tons of great blog content. Alex just posted a farewell blog article to Facundo Palestri, pulling on your heartstrings. You read this one, there's not going to be a dry eye in the place. Alex is a big fan of Facundo. And, sir, tell him about iTunes reviews.
iTunes reviews or 5-star reviews of the American Devils podcast, wherever you listen. It's a great way to support the pod. It helps us get found organically by other top Muppets like yourself. And we're still giving away free merch. I just did a huge drop of free merch for lots of good folks writing terrific 5-star reviews. So all you have to do is write a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Send a screenshot of that review to americandevils@gmail.com with your mailing address. I will personally pick, pack, and ship some free ARD gear right to your door. We do have a good one. I want to read it because it's proper. The best podcast. Let's get into it. I've been listening to this podcast for well over a year now, and I can honestly say that this is far and away the best Manchester United pod out there. The pod is a perfect mix of being both full of fan optimism and yet still grounded in reality. The pod is never too high and never too low. You will not find a better Man United pod out there, folks. Glory, glory, Man United. Thank you, Braves fan 215. For writing a terrific review. Send in the screenshot. Send in your address. We'll get you some merch. We appreciate it. We appreciate everybody who supports the pod. Like, subscribe to our YouTube. Buy some merch. Join Patreon. It's all happening.
All right, sir. Let's get into it. We got a match preview.
Nervous. More nervous than I want to be. More nervous than I expected. I sat down for this pod, and I was like, oh, you got me nervous. Talking about last season.
Whew.
Make me nervous.
They don't mess around. Speaking last season, here's our El Capitan making quite the challenge, but we are playing Brighton Hove Albion in game week 2 in the 2024-2025 EPL season. Saturday, August 24th, 4:30 a.m. Pacific, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. It is a hell of an early wake up on the West Coast. 4:30 a.m. kickoffs are absolutely brutal.
Backbreaker.
Obviously, Manchester United fans throughout the world are used to tough kickoff times, but this one for the West Coast, kick to the teeth, sir. There's nothing you can do to shake this off. We better get 3 points.
We never, I'm telling you, our record at 4:30 is, unless we're playing Everton, it's rough. I want to go to the tape, but at least like anecdotally, I don't remember being quite good.
It's like 75% like disappointment at 4:30 in the morning. I don't
No matter
know if it's
what.
because I'm tired or United are underperforming or both. We're playing at the Amex Stadium, like you said, 30,000 seater down at the South Coast. We went to it. We saw Brighton play, I believe, Arsenal. We've seen Brighton play QPR in London. That was in the championship, so we have quite some history with Brighton. And we saw them beat Arsenal
At the Emirates.
And that was like the death nail 2 seasons ago for Arsenal in the title race. It was a joy to watch in the seats. Brighton's been a team that, after they've come up to the league, they've kind of dominated. Obviously, Dan Ashworth has involvement there, so lots of history with Brighton and, good things in the league other than Graham Potter.
Yeah, Graham Potter. I mean, they achieved some stuff under Graham Potter in terms of his, historically where they were at. So the argument can be made that Brighton are probably one of the best run clubs in the world, pound for pound. If you look at the amount of money that they have sold players for, as well as their league achievement, right? 11th, not great, but they were 6th the season before. Consistently, and that's like after selling 2 of their best players in addition to other players, so, and their coach. So obviously know what they're doing at Brighton. It's going to be a tough environment for a variety of reasons. Traveling, early game, their fans are going to be up for it, and we're still finding our feet. That makes me the most nervous.
No, totally. And obviously, you can't talk about the Amex Stadium without getting into Alex's pie-eating record when we went there. I believe they were playing Arsenal, sir.
It was Stoke.
It was Stoke?
Stoke City was. They were still. I think they were still in the championship.
All right, some team in red that beat them, I believe. But we had amazing seats. We were in like the 3rd row behind the goal. It was raining at the time.
It was raining.
But Brighton is a beautiful town. Founded like a great pub. Pre-gaming there, we go to the game, and Alex has just like, he has a taste for some meat pies. Hits up, obviously they have the concessions there. But you kept going back. I mean, this guy, you went back for pie number 5, and they're like, "Sir, we're sold out." So like they literally put a stop hold on meat pie street at the Amex Stadium, and obviously you just have to give a shout out to the famous goalkeeper just mowing a pie here. But that was it is a record at the Amex, sir. I think there's a little plaque on the wall that you have there. Always be known, 4 pies.
That's a picture of me. Didn't you know that? Legendary. You know, I put down a number of Guinness in advance. The pies, once they hit your lips, you can't only just have one. So shout out to Brighton. Shout out to the lady working the pie stand. She had a laugh when she saw me come up my 4th time. But
well, it's like not your team playing. Like you went, but the thing is, you bought one pie at a time. So it's like you kept kind of going back to the well.
We were so close to the concessions. We had like an easy seat. You know, I think we were like on the aisle. You could run out, run in. Wasn't my team playing. I'm not committed to seeing all the action. I'll tell you what, all those pies did not make it in my stomach on the way back to London.
Yeah, so I mean,
if you get my drift.
Look, you have like probably 6 or 7, maybe 8 dark ales. It's gonna wet the beak. A meat pie, they go down easy. Last 5 against Brighton, lost 3, won 2. Brighton and Hove Albion, they have our number, sir. This one is pretty brutal. But lifetime, it's us. 21 wins, 5 draws. We've lost 7, but those last 5, sir, brutal. 3 in the league. One of the wins that we beat them was 0-0 in the FA Cup, and we went to penalties. Obviously, we remember that one. But the numbers say Brighton has our number as of late.
And they have. They really have the Premier League. It actually feels that way. You don't even have to go to the data. I mean, obviously, famously, Erik ten Hag's first match in charge, Premier League, game week 1. We got beat 2-1, outplayed by Brighton and lost in that game. And then obviously, the following game in Brentford was even worse. So we don't have a great record with them, other than the last game of the season, I believe. I believe it was the last game of the season last year against Brighton. Also on the road, we did get a win, but that was the last win in the EPL against the Seagulls in a while. So we're going to be out for blood. They're going to be, anytime you get a new coach, you usually get a little bit of a lift. So Fabian, he's going to be ready to go. He's got that funny haircut.
How do you say his last name?
Yeah, good luck. Hürzeler.
Hürzeler?
I don't know
Fabian Hürzeler.
Hürzeler. Is it Fabian or Fabian?
It's hard to know.
Hard to say.
We have the American pronunciation, which is we're going to get it wrong.
Fabian.
And then we're going to get corrected. Hey, he's got to make a name for himself. But, sir, quick history on Brighton, founded in 1901, nicknamed the Seagulls or Albion because they play their football down on the south coast where there are plenty of seagulls flying around. I do like the badge. It is very clean.
It is nice.
And like we said, the first time we came around them, it was against QPR when they were on the rise in the championship. For most of the Brighton's history, they've played in the blue and white, usually striped, different combinations, obviously. And their biggest rival, Crystal Palace, even though they're about 40 miles apart, it's about an hour and a half on the train from London. We've made that trip before as well. And Anthony Grant Bloom, MBE, is an English sports bettor, poker player, and entrepreneur, and he is the majority owner and chairman of a Premier League football club, Brighton Hove Albion. I wish I could gamble my way to owning English Premier League football club. How about that?
He's a proper character. I mean, if you were going to do like a rank the 20 Premier League owners for the most colorful, he's got a super interesting background. Obviously, like you said, must be a hell of a bettor, hell of a gambler if you can buy a Premier League club. And obviously, he knows what he's doing. I mean, like I said, arguably the best run club, pound for pound, definitely in the EPL, at least up until the last couple seasons. So he knows what he's doing. He's appointed smart people. He has an eye for smart talent. Dan Ashworth, obviously, being one of them. So very, very well-run club. What Ineos is aspiring to do at a much bigger level and scale with a club of Manchester United size and history. So they figured it out. I mean, they figured it out. They didn't yo-yo. They stayed in the Premier League, and they look like they're stuck in the top half of it.
And let's check out this young manager. I don't know if I can get behind this haircut. That sort of he's got like the Toy Story Sid hairdo, unfortunately for him. Hürzeler, I did watch the highlights against Everton. He did look a little out of his depth. You have a young guy sitting on the seat. He was a little nervous. You could tell. Like I was like 31. How's this guy gonna act? He looked a little jumpy on the bench to me, unlike, some more seasoned vets we have in the league. And so I think there's something there from a United perspective where he's young, maybe the 3-0. He got overconfident. How is he going to play United? Is he going to play us with that high line that he played against Everton? Is he going to pack it in and try to hit us on the counter? So I don't think we know what we're going to get from the young manager, and that's really going to factor into the game on Saturday.
Another good point. Might have gotten a little bit of newcomers bounce. Maybe he's going to come back to reality, especially if United show up. Obviously, if we roll over, they'll take advantage. The hair is an interesting one, sir, because the other photo he has when he's in Germany looks like your hair, and then all of a sudden he looks like Sid. So hopefully, we make him lose his hair because we just blow by them playing electric, attacking, dominant football. I'm not counting on it, but a boy can dream. So looking forward to this match. Let's kind of humble them. 3-0 toffees. We ain't no toffees. Let's remind them Manchester United used to be a big dog in town. We still got it. We still got it. We still got it.
But why is he here? He helped St. Pauli get promoted to the Bundesliga. And like you said, he's 31, youngest coach in EPL history. Let's see how this experiment goes. It feels like Brighton don't miss. They could miss with this one. Obviously, they just got rid of De Zerbi after finishing 11th in the league. But he does like that classic Brighton approach. High line, very aggressive. They're going to come at us. It's going to be a hell of a match, sir, and it's going to be a wet one as well. Players to look out for, sir. You picked Danny Welbeck. Obviously, he has a knack of scoring against Manchester United. You think Danny Welbeck is going to score on Saturday?
He's the old journeyman. Danny Welbeck, kind of a player that didn't get the shine during his era for a variety of reasons. I always remember that chance he had against Bayern where he tried to chip it. That just sticks out in my memory. Went to Arsenal, scored a couple goals against us, scored a couple goals while at Brighton and assists as well. So he has a decent record against his former club. That's why I call him my man to keep an eye on. Obviously, they like wing play. They like to, attack from the wings. They like to play high line, not dissimilar to United. So their modus operandi is going to be getting the ball to Danny Welbeck and in that head of his so they can hammer it home. So this is going to be a good challenge for United. We got to watch the midfield. It's going to be won and lost as games are usually done. In the midfield, it'll be very interesting to see what Erik ten Hag goes with now that some more players have come up to fitness. And he almost has I don't want to say, he's got a lot of choices in midfield. Not as many choices elsewhere, but in midfield, you can tinker, you can under-tinker because we actually have a couple things to play with. So let's look at what they got, sir.
Yeah, things to worry about is my one to watch is Matoma on the left wing. He is very sharp and healthy for Brighton. If you look at the formation they played against Everton, the 4-2-3-1, Matoma scored. Minta looked really good. Welbeck scored as well. So, again, you also know Dunk, classic, Pedro as well, and James Milner still playing amazing in the midfield. So it's kind of you can't underestimate him. You don't want to. And when we saw Fulham break against Manchester United, that was almost just like a comedy show. Matoma is going to bury it and punish you if you let him get behind with numbers. And so United have to be wary of getting countered because these players will punish you, and that's the difference between, I think, Fulham and Brighton.
Yeah, they're going to be harder to dominate. We dominated possession quite well against Fulham. We didn't take our chances. We created some good action. We were vulnerable, especially in the second half. It didn't really come to these big chances, but they were chances, huge chances. That one Maguire cut off. Like you said, if they give them those chances to a team like Brighton, they will take advantage of them. Matoma is a dangerous player. Dunk's just annoying. Steele's a very solid goalkeeper. Veltman's good. Dude, they're always good. They know how to recruit. They know how to feed the academy. They know how to sign the next stars. So we know what to expect. They're going to be tough. They're going to be physical. They're going to be fast. And they're going to try and bring it to United. They ain't afraid. They're going to try and bring it to United. So we have to be ready.
And they literally should have had 4 against Everton. They completely outplayed them and dominated them.
Forever.
On the stat sheet, look, 62% of the ball in their house, 5 on target. It looked even worse than that, sir. But for Manchester United, who do you think the manager is going to start? I mean, against Fulham, this is the 11 here. We had Onana, Maz, Magoo, Martinez, Dalot, Cass, Menu, Diallo, Mount, Rashford, and Bruno. What changes would you make, and who do you think he's going to start against Brighton?
Knowing a little bit about this manager, I have a different 11, but you usually go with the same, and that's usually right. So I think it's pretty likely he'll do the exact same 11, I would think. So back 5 is almost certainly the same. I think it's too early to throw in Too early. You wouldn't do that. Doesn't make any sense. You're just giving him a chance to like fucking embarrass himself against a dangerous Brighton side. The midfield he can mess with. Does he drop Mount, drop Bruno to 10, and then play Xerxes? But I think he goes the exact same 11. So Maz, Maguire, Martinez, Delo, Onana in net, Casemiro, Manu, Mount, Bruno, I guess at false 9, Diallo on the right wing, Rashford on the left. Sir, what do you think?
Yeah, so let's get to the point. The manager is going to play that 11. Like that's just everybody knows it. Fabian knows it. Like Brighton knows it, and that is sort of the. I hope he surprises us, because I would say after seeing 60 minutes of Mount and Bruno versus City and seeing 60 minutes of Mount and Bruno versus Fulham, you got to change it or you're gonna get hurt. And like we need to get Xerxes in there right away. You got to get Rashford on the bench. You got to get Garnacho and Diallo on the pitch. Like Garnacho and Diallo have to start. And it's very clear it's a tough thing to do to say, hey, Rashford, it's game 2. You got to sit on the bench. But you got to make these calls as manager. And I feel like Ten Hag, if he had a tendency, it would be to be stubborn, kind of play the same 11, do the same tactics. And then finally when he changes it, it all comes good. That's usually how I would see it. What do you make of those changes I suggested there?
No, I mean, I think we played okay against Fulham. I mean, they were quite good. Mount with a high. We did. Look at the XG. The Mount contribution. We had the most like high press turnovers in their third of anyone in the league in opening game week. So that's something. I agree. I think the big takeaway is Rashford.
You got to make a change. You got to make.
No, I think the change is Rashford, because Garnacho is like in form and Rashford is not in form, and that's like for like. He's great in the left wing. Midfield's a little harder. It's a little bit like more risky, whereas like Rashford for Garnacho, there is very little risk in my mind. So I would go with that change all day.
No, but with Bruno and Mount, it's about getting Bruno into his best position. So I do my main issue with Bruno and Mount playing in that, front 2 is that Bruno goes too forward and he's not in his best spot. So you got to put Xerxes there to get Bruno in his best position. Obviously, Xerxes might not be fit. That could be the reason to go with this midfield again. I just feel like you'd be better off putting Bruno on and then maybe subbing Mount and then putting Bruno on the wing. I think that would be more dynamic in our attack than having both of them play this, false 9 or 2 10s in the middle of the park, and they're kind of switching so much that chemistry just hasn't come off. And keep it simple. It's Brighton. I feel like maybe we're trying to do too much, but it's like it's hard enough to try to get a win away against Brighton and then try to invent this new midfield. I just feel like you're kind of asking too much of these players. And you need to kind of simplify and be like, Bruno, you're the best player on the field. Play this role, and we'll do well. And I just feel like when he's playing 9 and coming down, it's like he gets a little lost.
No, it's a very good point, and it kind of harkens back to like Rooney and how much he used to play out of position. But like certainly for this team and this squad, he's the best player on our team. There's something about playing your best player out of his position to make accommodations for other players. When, like you said, you can play Mount in the wing. He does okay there.
Exactly.
You could drop a player. You can also drop a Casemiro and whatever. Put Mount at 8 and Kobe plays 6 and try that. That might not work, but I agree. I mean, I also think there's something to be said. It's like, let's just go out there and try and dominate possession and not get too clever. 4-2-3-1. Let's just try to hold onto the ball and, be direct, create those nice diagonals that we did see against Fulham, those balls over the top. That's probably why he's going to keep Rashford, just because I like those balls over the top. But I agree. It's like, it's hard now because we don't know what the best 11 is, even with everyone available. So there's going to be a lot of like tinkering over the next coming months.
No, you're totally right. So I think on the 11, no changes from the manager. You could change it, but we're Muppets and we're probably trying to change things too soon. So I think probably the same 11, and you see how it goes against a proper Brighton side, but it's not going to be an easy match. And for that reason, it's going to be raining down to the South Coast. BBC weather has about 70% chance of rain. Kickoff is going to be a little later in the UK time. It's about 65 degrees and rainy, so it's going to be a fight for a knife in the mud, and it's about who wants it more, sir. It's going to be an interesting game down the South Coast.
Proper Manchester weather. Favor United. I mean, like, I'm sure they get plenty of rain on the South Coast, but we love the rain. The boys eat it up.
And then the referee of the match is going to be Craig Pawson. Him and his staff are going to be taking over. This is not the worst referee that we could get for Brighton. He gives out 3.62 yellows per game. That's under the league average, about 4.5. So he gives a penalty every 4 matches around. Probably not giving any penalties to Manchester United. But he's going to make people stand up, and players should obviously be aware of this. Manchester United will be aware of this. It's going to be a physical game, and stay on your feet.
Yeah, I mean, ref watch matters now because the refs in England are not great, So he's not the worst ref. He's not the best ref. He's, in the middle of a not great group. So let's not
I would say he's on the good side.
He's a fair ref. There's not many good refs.
So,
I don't like them all.
So if you had to rank them, right, I would put Paul.
They all look the same, by the way. So I have no idea who any of them are except for like that one guy.
I know Paulson, but it's like I would say he's reffing a game. He usually has the, not going for the dives, not going for the soft contact. Anyone who's reffing like that, I like. And United just has to know that and play that way going in. And so of the bad refs, I would say he's one of the better ones.
Yeah, I like that. That's a very good characterization. Also, I watched quite a few. I mean, this is curious. I'd be curious of asking the community. I watched a lot of EPL action last weekend after United's opener on Friday. It seems like they're calling less foul. I mean,
yes.
In the opening week, it definitely looked like that. They were letting play happen, more like the Euros. They were letting things play, less fouls, less slowing of the game. Which, if they do, that's God bless them. I mean, we need that. It's like stop blowing the whistle.
They always do this for the first
I know they do.
5 games,
and
then they stop. It's like the game needs to get way more physical, in my opinion. We become Spanish football. Like Pep Guardiola's come.
That's the Pep effect.
Tactical fouls and like diving.
No, they ruined it.
They gotta have retroactive yellows. It should be like if you get caught diving in the penalty area, retroactive. It's a game suspension. Have to do it. They literally have to do it because you gotta get out of the game. It ruins the game. Let's get into the odds. Booking the bookies, sir. How are you feeling here?
Woof! Can you believe it? Can you believe it? United are the underdogs. The underdogs facing big old Brighton. So plus 145 for Brighton Hove Albion at home. Plus 270 for the draw, which actually is not a bad bet. And plus 165 for Manchester United, the biggest club in the country. So, yeah, bookmakers, they favor Brighton. I wonder if it's the same.
So, what do the professionals know that we don't, right? That's what I'm saying. It's
they know a lot.
You got to be betting United here this early. The tie plus 270. That one
Tie's what I would
interesting. Bet. But to be the underdog going away to Brighton early in the season might tell you that all United fans are wearing rose-tinted glasses when they're saying, hey, that full game, we played great, because the bookies are watching that and they're saying, hey, this is going to be a tough match for United, right? Because I just think that you could look at that and be like, hey, maybe Brighton could have United's number here.
Well, I'll tell you what, certain things were positive, certain things were not positive.
Well, it's just the rose-tinted glasses
if we don't take
wear,
our chances, we're fucked. We're in trouble. If we give away those big chances with open midfield that we had in the second half, they're going to take advantage in a way that Fulham probably did not. So, dude, this is a dangerous opponent. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And they probably edge us because they're playing at home, and United are coming off a really poor last season with a lot of things unsettled. So, bookies tend to know. They tend to know.
But you know what? As a United fan, doesn't matter. It's early in the season. Whatever it takes to win, whatever it takes to get 3 points. Given those are the bookies' odds, and they got us as underdogs, Brighton away. What is your score prediction?
4:30 wake up. I mean, it's too early in the season to call a loss, so I'm calling 0-0 draw. What's the most? It's painful. Just 90 minutes, 4 in the morning. 0-0 draw.
0-0 draw. I got to go 2-0 to Brighton. I got to call the loss. I just feel it. It's to go there and win would be such a surprise. At this stage, given everything going on with this team, we're still playing a left back out of position. The Bruno and Mount thing hasn't necessarily clicked. It probably will, but it's just not there yet. Draw. If Brighton gets behind, like you said, Matoma can punish us. So I'm kind of leaning in that direction. And then that's just all that prediction is doing is putting respect on if we can go there and win. Because if we go there and we dominate the ball and we win, that is a huge signal in the positive direction for Manchester United. I just feel it's a little bit out of our grasp. And to be fair, it's going to be the team on the day that can kind of steal. Brighton's going to be coming for it. I think they're not going to pack it in. I think it's going to be like two teams going toe-to-toe early in the season. It's going to be a cracker of a game. So there should be more goals than I think we're predicting.
I hope so. I don't want to see 0-0. I obviously don't want to see us lose. I could see that. But let's be honest. We've got a better squad.
Exactly.
They've got a new coach. This is our 3rd year with this coach. We should start to be settling a little bit. No excuses. Play like a champion. We don't need to dominate. We just gotta win, baby. If you steal one, I don't give a shit. I just want to win, baby. Win. 3 points or bust.
Yeah, exactly. If it looks ugly, don't matter.
Don't matter.
We just need to win. That's what it's all about. All right, so our Brighton preview in the books. Let's move on to fan questions. Thank you for tweeting us on Twitter.
When are we gonna talk about this new kit I'm wearing?
After fan questions here.
In the mud.
At KGel Joel, so pleased with professional people running the club. Palestri deal with Panthiankos has the stamp of smart business. According to Romano, there is a buyback clause and 45% sell on. Good luck in Athens, Facundo. Who's next to leave? Sancho, Hannibal, Eriksson, ?
It's, soft spot in my heart for Facundo Palestra. I have a soft spot for all Uruguayans who play for Manchester United. Good kid, very good kid, mismanaged by United, like what's new. And hopefully kind of like the end of the era, end of the Woodward Glazer era. But they figure it out like, hey, we're going to sell him real cheap, get him off the books, also give the lad a chance to restart his career. But we control his destiny. Buyback clause, sell-on clause. Hey, soft spot in my heart, but like let's learn from this. New crew, let's learn from this as we buy young players, buy youngsters, buy kids for the academy. Like you got to manage them right. It's not just about buying talent. Look at Chelsea. Like they ain't gonna get that right. I'm telling you, that's gonna blow up in their face like a Garrett fucking Thean. So we'll miss you, Facundo. That name is badass.
Yeah, and obviously, shout out to the buyback and the sell-on. Ineos doing their bit. I think that's just like standard now. You're seeing Greenwood get off to a fire start in the French league.
What'd you expect?
Hopefully, of course. But I'm saying like we're going to get money if he's sold, right? The idea is that we have financial interest. It made sense to move him on, but if he turns out to be like an unbelievable world-class talent, we're going to get a piece of it, just like Facundo as well. And you can cheer for these players now because United financially benefit from their upside. At D_Cole 18, end of the road for Palestri. It's unfortunately, here's hoping we've got a buyback. We do. Still needed to sell the likes of Sancho, Anthony, Lindelof, Casemiro, Eriksson, Malacia, Hannibal. And that's at least 120 million sales to keep FFP at bay and get better bodies in our team. So again, D_Cole talking about who is next to sell. Who can we realistically sell? Sancho's out there. Hannibal's out there. McTominay is out there, but it's whiffling by the day. We do need to fund Ugarte, and that seems to be getting closer. So something tells me it's either Sancho or McT going for like a change, because we needed to be able to get Ugarte over the line.
I'm hearing some crazy stuff about Sancho. Obviously, Ugarte, PSG. We heard some swap rumors. We heard some like financial fair play magicry, like a little just backroom dealing like Chelsea usually do. Next player out is probably going to be like a boring one. It's going to be like Hannibal to some random club for £6 million. But of those big guys, I think Sancho goes. If not McSauce, I don't know. I have no idea. I like that about this front office. They're keeping us in surprise. It's like I'm just getting surprise after surprise after surprise. What do you think?
Look, this is musical chairs at the end. Who are we going to sell? Whoever people want to buy and pay a fair price for. Ineos is going to be playing poker face till the last day of the window, and I think you're going to see fireworks. And I'm glad we have Ineos, the front office on our side, world-class front office. I trust in them to do the deal. At Country Esquire, Anthony has no transfer value and is buried behind better wingers in the depth chart. Let's convert him to left back, let him run around in the League Cup, and maybe salvage some of that value on that lunatic. Look, as far as Anthony goes, brutal. Just you got to eat it. And, he can play, in the League Cup. That's probably right where he should be. But as far as converting him to left back, that's worth a shout. But he didn't seem like he was open to it, because I think he did get moved to left back in the middle of a game, and he was complaining.
He was all pissed off.
He's not a team player.
No, he's not.
Probably not a nice guy. Kind of a weirdo, celebrating goals with other players, making it about himself too. He's just the vibes about him are just off. And obviously you look at him playing, it's off. So Anthony, you're right, zero value.
Very little. He's gonna be a big L. He's gonna be like the last big old eggshell on the face of the Glazer regime. And yeah, it's a shame, but we're stuck with him. I hate to say it. It's like Jadon Sancho, I don't like how everything went down, but he's got like
He can play.
10x the quality. He's an
can
actual
play.
player.
He
Anthony's
he can actually play.
I mean, that I'll be eating that L. Like he makes like Maguire at 80 million look like a fucking bargain. Like he's an all-time fumble, all-time.
And what's amazing is Erik ten Hag greenlit it, and he knew him very well. And that to me is just like it's hard to get away from that one. That to me is like one of those where it's like that shouldn't have happened. Knowing the manager knew him coming to the EPL, that was such a weird disconnect. At James Battiari, do you think United will make a run for Trevor Chalobah? Chelsea needs to sell players, and we could use another young center back with Premier League experience and possibly a cheap buy. What do you think? Another center back? I think we're set, right?
I don't think we need a center back. I think we need to strengthen the left back. We have to get Ugarte in.
He's young though, and he's a good center. I would take him, but
I mean, for what price? But then
fair.
we already have to sell Lindelof as is.
I would take him for Lindelof swap deal.
I take it for Lindelof, but what about our boy? I take him because you know what? Depends on the price. Depends on how much of a fire sale they can actually run. I don't know. The squad is so big at Chelsea that I have no idea. So fits the profile, but we have other priorities. It's we need more.
Could if
we
you
need
didn't
more
get
goals.
Euro. If you didn't get Euro, you could go for Chalobah. But if
but
you have Euro, you
we
don't
signed
need
two center
Chalobah.
backs.
Yeah,
We need
exactly.
someone who can play fullback, if anything.
Well, some good teams have many good center backs, sir. We're used to not even having one. So,
We've got
I could add
3
another
to
good
4
center.
really good center backs at this point.
I know. At Jester's Dead 13, what's going on at NBC Sports Soccer? All the games on Peacock, one on actual cable. The greed of media companies taking advantage of sports fans is a joke. We haven't commented on NBC Soccer in a while. How do you find Peacock and all that stuff?
I fought it for a while. I did fight it for a while, but now it's so I watch all of the games on Peacock almost. I default to go to Peacock. If they're not there, I go check out NBC Sports app. It was the same with the Olympics. It's like they made you go to Peacock. Everybody makes you go to the apps. ESPN Plus for the FA Cup. Paramount for the Europa League?
No, it's just a racket.
It's just
totally
just what
agree.
they do, and it's did you know that it was the record opening weekend for Premier League for NBC Sports? So record numbers for them. So annoying, but whatever they're doing,
They got rid of Arlo White. So
which was years
famously,
ago.
if you knew,
Yeah,
I
he
got
was-
in a Twitter
God.
battle with Arlo White because I was basically
famously
no, he
in your mind.
okay. So if you he tweets back, by the way.
He
saying,
does, he does.
If anyone wants to troll,
When you haven't made it yet, you troll back.
So I could pull up the tweet, but it's basically something like
Good.
it's something like, "Hey man, you're the B team. Slow your roll. We're listening to you in America because if you were good, you would be in England, right? You would be in England announcing for English people. You wouldn't be on NBC announcing for Americans." And then he was like, "Oh, I am the." He kind of threw shade at me, and then he got fired. So it's actually he was the B team. He got replaced by Peter Drury, who I would say is the A team, right? I'm not talking smack about Peter Drury, but NBC Sports they are improving a little bit, but. Peacock could get better, sir. The highlight. I really think the highlights they could improve on. Match of the day, the BBC. It's hard to replace it, right?
I told you I watched a lot of content this weekend. They are doing their own version of Match of the Day. They had I can't remember the name of the striker, some former England striker.
Yeah, but you don't need another version.
No, it's shittier version. It's a worse host and. No, it doesn't have the guys they usually have on who are quite good. So I agree, but I do watch recaps on it actually usually ahead of watching it on MUTV just because they're up faster. You have to wait a couple days to get the replay on MUTV. So yeah, I feel that. I get it. But that's kind of the deal. It's if you look at the crew, nobody's worse than ESPN Plus. The worst. They've always been the worst. Who's that fucking egghead that they have?
No, not ESPN Plus. ESPN Soccer, yeah.
But ESPN Plus, when I watch the FA Cup, which is the only reason I
Soccer
have
coverage
ESPN
in the
Plus.
United States is not so.
But everyone else has gotten better, and they
No,
have
but
stayed
if you
the
look
same.
at how the NFL is covered in the United States, it's that's how it's covered in England.
Right.
EPL, it's all the great commentary, all the great pundits,
24/7.
and I want to watch that. I don't want to watch I don't want to watch Germans commenting on the NFL. I want to watch Americans. I want to watch English people commenting on the English Premier League. It just makes sense, but for some reason they try to have this NBC Soccer go between, and they should just give us like the feed straight from the UK. And I think they will eventually. But, sir, that's it. That's the podcast. If you like the American Red Devils, we are for fans, by fans. Check out our YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search American Red Devils. Please subscribe, like, comment on the videos. It goes a long way helping us get our new channel off the ground. Check out our store, americadevils.store. Pick up some merch, shirts, scarves, hoodies, everything you need to be a top Muppet. And also Patreon if you want to join an extra special community, get more content from American Red Devils. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/American Red Devils. Sir, give us our top 10 downloads the last 7 days.
Number 1, how you doing? How you doing? Chicago, Illinois. Excuse me, Dublin, Ireland, Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles, California, New York, Oslo, Norway, Brooklyn, New York, Houston, Texas, Toronto, Canada, Seattle, Washington, last but not least, Charlotte, North Carolina. I appreciate all American Devils listening week in, week out. Can't do it without you. Like, subscribe, our YouTube channel, join Patreon, buy merch, send in reviews. We couldn't do it without you. Buy merch because it's better than the shit you can get from the store. I'll tell you that.
Come on, 3 points. Let's go. Brighton away.